I can't believe I get to say this. It's Loud versus SKCALALAS, and we're just in the quarterfinals. We really get our money's worth today. We're going to kick things off here with Charlie being picked up on the left-hand side. Banned out a lot of those spray brawlers, mid-control, area control, Spike, Crow, Chester on the left-hand side. Leon double ban, also an interesting one. We haven't seen him in competitive for quite some time, but that buff really must have helped him.
I think the pinhole over the lollipop drop speed boost is pretty oppressive on a map where position means everything. And also they just keep sniping kills out of nowhere. Leon is really dangerous, but it's no surprise to see Otis still hotly contested here. Last month he was the second highest pick rate brawler at 30%. Looks like nothing's changed.
Yeah, it's for me one of the most versatile brawlers to have in the back pocket, and I think that even if you end up in a position where tanks don't show themselves, it's still okay to have. You know, I think that's why Otis for me is like that kind of big tank counter, but they're really doubling down now at this point. I'm not sure that it's necessary with the Gale. I think, you know, in all modes...
We get it. You don't like tanks, guys.
Yeah, and, you know, with the global bans, of course, with the Bull, BB is still available here, but I feel like if any team's going to pick it up, it's going to be Loud. So they've got the Charlie, it makes sense to combine them, but into the Otis now, into the Gale, I think they're probably going to pass.
Both Gale and Bo are brawlers that we see this month a lot more often than any month before. Gale didn't even get a buffy. He's just really good into tanks. And guess what? Tanks are kind of strong at the moment. One of those would be BB, maybe because it's going to be Meeple once more. I think we have seen him every single time today where we have seen this map.
So Meeple is also the punish when your opponents are heavily indexing into anti-tank brawlers. You pick someone who's just got good range and is broadly very good at trapping people or taking map control and has a super that basically doesn't really care about map topography if you want to do damage. That Meeple hypercharge is still unbelievably powerful. Something that's kind of easy to forget as it popped in sort of late last year. Now they take the BB anyway. They say, well, we feel like we still can play this against your composition. I don't think they wanted to give it over to SKC either.
Kind of, they're taking a sip from like a jug bigger than his own head, it seems. Third and final pick. Kind of come in. I can't see another tank counter. It doesn't. I mean, I'm just surprised that we've seen the BB picked into this, but also that we're seeing Meeple so much. I mean, it's definitely good. Lumi's not one that was on my radar, to be completely honest. I think it's kind of fallen off a little bit. Can have some area control with the freeze. Not the worst of things.
Grim and Frostbitten?
Yeah, Grim and Frostbitten. It's definitely the preferred gadget for me, but she's not in a bad place. She's not in a fantastic one.
Yeah, obviously, you know, she has a hypercharge. You know, that drum solo makes her super that much more powerful. She is squishy though. Remember, when she first released, she had like 9.5k health, which was insane. That's been heavily tuned down. She still hits extremely hard. And look to see that gadget made use of in these chokes to really get some damage away. We're going to jump into our first set here though, folks. Pinhole Pun is underway between Loud and SKCALALAS. It is definitely the most compelling quarterfinal matchup on paper. Let's see if it delivers.
Reese does find a connection there to Firecrow, who pops the vitamin booster just in the nick of time there to get the additional heals. Nice pressure as well. An open goal for Kaido. Easy breezing the first 24 seconds of play.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty impressive and a great start off an early break here for Loud. They've also got that Charlie super now in reserve. And look at it, Mentor to Meeple fulfills a similar purpose. Locks down two individuals and immediately the BB damage comes in. Firecrow's able to close the gap. Grim and Frostbitten keeps Loud at arm's length for the time being. But RHC doesn't really have the health to step up and take a bunch of free damage on this Lumi. So patience is going to have to be a virtue here for SKC, but now they're losing players while in their half of the map. Not a good sign.
Yeah, really not. Oh, the buff there as well from Christian off the left-hand side, and then straight into the bubble there of Firecrow. It's just looking so straightforward. Loud are all over this one. Reese now just tapped down. Edinho. Oh, that was a bit of a mistake though. Gotta be said. That should have been a goal by Loud. And Christian comes in just the nick of time to get the defense.
The Meeple hypercharge means that Firecrow doesn't get knocked up against the wall and stunned, which he could have recovered from, but actually gets pushed down the map through that wall entirely. So in that case, Edinho's hypercharge potentially working a little bit against Firecrow, even though he wasn't stunned up as a result. Some map control able to be taken by SKCALALAS now, but they are still being very tentative about getting back into the map. Some Spiderlings throwing up here just to get in the way of Christian. Of Firecrow now needs to dodge inside this Grim and Frostbitten Venn diagram, but it's still map control for Loud. Firecrow's going to step up. Edinho could slot it in here, and unfortunately Christian is a little bit too slow to get there. Here come Loud.
A ton of mistakes there from Loud as well, some missed cocoons as well, but with that in mind, see really SKC punish it, and they didn't. They were just kind of all over the place really, and Loud just had free roam, free reign. You cannot do that against a team that are so established and so experienced. So for SKC, you know, that was the chance to get your thumbs warmed up. Now you've already got to bring something more, and this could be it. Pass through to CR as well. Immediately at the bat, a goal in 11 seconds. That's a pretty good response.
With no supers as well, that is a fantastic early break here for SKCALALAS. Now that they're awake, we need to see if they are ready to drive this vehicle home. Heck is trying to get forward now, of course. Otis, you do not want to run headlong into if you are this BB. It's part of the counter structure to take this tank down. Edinho, though, gets free damage and a free elimination virtually on virtue of making use of that super. And Firecrow's already trying to get ahead, but Gale will be the next anti-tank measure in the way of Loud. And Firecrow will still prevail, albeit only just.
Wow, Dino now coming to support as Firecrow's too low already here.
The mechanics
doing a pretty good job of ring around the Rosie, and now the wall coming through. Look at this. He does fall in the end, but that was an entire motion around the map to come there to defend. Now, pushing the ball out. No connections then just yet through the wall, but it's going to allow Christian to come back off the spawn here. Cardo has the hypercharge. You might need it on this defense.
Okay, nice catch there with the Cocoon. Firecrow wants to come forward now. So we've got map control off the back of that Cocoon, and Pekka won't be able to respond. That's the Otis out of the picture now. Far less to deal with this BB as Firecrow's going to use the Mountains of Meeple to close the gap somewhat to SKC, but he's going to be stunned up instantly there by that blustery blow. RHC out of the pitch now, Edinho with a hypercharge super, meaning that there's nowhere to hide for SKC outside of their own goal, but a blast speed's going to be able to bring that Charlie down behind the wooden containers.
Really risky. It feels like SKC just want to be able to defend this entire time, and they cannot place a foot wrong here. Hypercharge from Pekka, will he find the mute as well? He does so there with the help of a blusty break from Christian as well. There is the twister, preventing Kaido from being able to get to the ball, but again, it's going to have to be continuous defense here for SKC, and this could be the time to strike for Loud. It's a wide open goal. Kaido should be able to score as well, tying things up with 25 seconds left on the clock.
These Meeple supers getting cycled is a huge problem for SKCALALAS. It feels like at all times when Loud are able to get into an offensive position, SKCALALAS can't even make use of the boxes to protect themselves at the top of the map. They're going to get forward here now, and Edinho has to respect RHC's health pool. Firecrow eventually is going to be brought down. Loud are going to be more than happy to corner the ball for now and regroup in mid.
Let's see, Pekka, he's going to say, might have made a beeline for the ball there. Back splatter out, and this is where the synergy between that gadget and the Lumi from across Preston is going to make quite a big difference. There's a nice stun. Firecrow should fall here as well. Dino has been forced out to put the hypercharge now with two members of SKC though.
No time.
Christian for the pass through to Grease here, and it should be a goal, and it is. SKC get one on the board.
And I do feel like we're watching the consequences of picking this BB knowingly into two brawlers that counter tanks. I understand that Loud maybe feel like she's still strong enough in her own right, especially with these buffies, to find success there, and that was the case, I think, in the first game of this set. However, SKC have woken up and have been able to dial in some of their anti-tank measures to make it hard for Firecrow to take over the game.
Firecrow duking his left-hand side. Christian in the middle of this Gale pick needs to heal up here, as does Kyogre, as these shots fire back and forth both sides again. Looking to get that early utility, and another gadget there from Pekka. Will push Dino back. Manchester Beaver going out now as well. Get a nice break of the bush. Force Pekka to the left here as well. Reese is going to be careful. He's going to be running into both Kyogre and Dino if he's not careful on that right-hand side.
Best Vitalings here to eat up some of these shots for Kyogre. I think this Lumi has really been quite an issue for Loud. Kyogre's actually had the lane swap into mid because RHC has kept him under the thumb for this entire round. And Edinho doesn't seem to be faring all that much better. Even with the soft target seeking of these Meeple shots, RHC's been able to avoid a lot of the damage. So Mountains of Meeple going to be used for Edinho to get a bit further up the map now. Firecrow, though, caught inside that Gale Super. Still sends the ball forward, though. And that has to be kept now in SKCALALAS' goal. Great blast speed. Edinho's going to get caught out there. Firecrow also hit by the mute button. SKC find just the right moment to come forward with those powerful supers.
Pekka and Christian are just absolutely punishing Firecrow. I mean, it's such a tough matchup. But again, we were talking about it coming into the game. Loud chose this into the Gale, into the Otis. Now they're going to lie in the bed of which they've made. Vitamin Booster or nice Cocoon there from Kyogre. should allow since the return. Yeah, Christian with a swift takedown. Does place the twister there for good measure. Hypercharge from Pekka. Muse could get two. He does as well. Now a potential pass here to RHC, who's healing up along the way. Might choose. Oh, the wall! No, it is pushing the back. That may have been a chance for a goal, but I think that was just a fantastic gadget from Adino.
Obviously, the fact that he's got a super there means that Adino can now 1 versus 2 and clear SKCALALAS entirely, putting Loud back into the middle of the map. But there's some concerns here. It's a lack of damage output from Loud's composition, especially from Kaido, who, as you know, the DPS of Charlie increases the closer she is to her targets, which she doesn't want to be against this. Now, going to be run over by the blast. Beaten Pekka's going to come forward yet again. Firecrow needs to get into this game somehow, but they're constantly being juked out and forced away by this Gale. Loud have to come up with a plan to take this in overtime.
Hypercharge now for Adino as well. Pushing out with the gadget. Firecrow muted out. This is punished at the moment. Everyone's low on the side of SKC. Christian will fall here as well.
Adino.
Now there's going to be a chance for an easy goal here as well. The Cocoon is there. Fantastic stuff from Loud and a great response.
And you can see just how much depends here on that Meeple being able to find those supers. Not only does Adino save Loud from losing the set with a fantastic gadget into super, but that hypercharged super later on in the round meant that as long as you pushed up, you would have this really lopsided, advantageous scenario as the attacker. And at the end, it felt like the BB was just there to attract damage, just to soak shots and pave the way for the Charlie and the Meeple to come forward.
Nice to see that SKC started to sit into things better, it must be said. Took some time, but towards the end of that set, it just felt like it could have gone either way, actually, for me. I feel like when you've got, though, a Gale and an Otis and the BB, then Firecrow was punished a lot of the time, but I don't think you should really be losing that set.
The BB was a bit of a question mark in the end. The Lumi was one at the beginning for me. We didn't really see her come into this draft. Surely you'll pick a boat, for example, if you just want spray and a lot of area control, but she actually worked out better than expected.
She's just horrendous against these Meeple supers. You know, I think that Lumi is amazing at controlling chokes and these tighter angles, but look at this. What does RHC do here? Nothing. They just get caught in a cocoon straight away. I think as long as you can get your team in front of the, you know, the SKC goal with a Meeple super ready, doesn't have to be a hyper, you're probably going to score. Getting into that position, though, against these very effective control brawlers in Gale and Lumi, that's more than half the battle.
Yeah, you can see that as well. Dino had a fantastic game. 11 kills for him and just so many clutch gadgets. I mean, like we saw, just defending for his life. But 11 kills alongside that, I think, is really commendable. Firecrow, of course, as we know, had a tough time. But I feel like, you know, that was really a set where when you've got that kind of draft, it should be going the way of SKC.
It's not something we see very often, a BB sitting on only 3 kills. She is one of the best brawlers at the moment, banned out just as often as Bull in other regions in the global bans already. This one here is going to be out in the open, a map we've only seen once so far. We're knockout now. And let's see with what they will go with here. Usually you only have that right-hand side to walk into mid, where it all comes down to you want to pick up a brawler that can walk over water on the left-hand side. Angelo would still be open here. Eve actually banned out. Or you just break open the map. Brock would be the pick of choice here. Mostly he's also banned out here. So let's see with what they will go with instead.
Now, Eve, on a lot of other maps, the ones that don't involve water anyway, is just not a consideration. It's impressive to see her still being gone to here. Angelo, as Sunny pointed out, has the ability to traverse those waterways without suffering any penalty, and so is a pretty decent option on this kind of map. It is really hard to get to grips with them. Gus has been picked so much on this map over the years. Really, really powerful, but lately actually has not been performing very well at all. We saw him in the first set. Still quite potent, but there's concerns that maybe Gus is getting power crept by a lot of these, you know, buffy, empowered brawlers.
Crow here, open. Quite a rare thing, really, to have at this kind of stage of the ban process. Gus coming through, great shout. Let's see how they combine it. I think with the Pearl, probably their best option if they want to go for that. One that is certainly up there in the highest pick rates here today in South America. It does kind of make a lot of sense, though, when you have that kind of big brute and the shield on top of it. It's very, very dominating, and brawlers like Angelo are going to have a tough time kind of landing those shots into it. It's definitely a pick which, as well, Loud are quite savvy to choose themselves. They're choose the nanny. I don't mind the pick at all, but I kind of feel like it does leave the Pearl open to Loud to be able to utilize. Squeak could also be quite good one to have on this map, yeah.
You know who's sneaky? Yeah, Squeak is sneaky good on this map, actually. Has a 73% win rate this month. You know, Mina's banned out. I think she would have been a go-to option, you know, in the absence of any other approach here. I don't think we're going to see Gene, though it has been picked up, of course, just doesn't really have the damage required. Okay, we're going to get it here. Okay, so alongside the Angelo, your damage per second, like you have burst damage from the Angelo, but DPS from your comp is actually really low right now.
I want to roll this out for you a little bit. Usually we don't see Nanny too often, but into Angelo, she's so good because of that return to sender gadget. Would you play against the gadget? Either Jean or Tick. Has been the case for Shooting Star and now also for Out in the Open. Really like the Jean. We have some healing on that left-hand side. Byron could follow up to have even more HP. Or Squeak. I really like that shout from you earlier. Pearl coming in here. Also, Brawler we mentioned already. She's also going to be super good into that Nanny. That return to sender gadget is not going to do too much anymore.
Like Bow, Crow, to some degree as well. Those are an option. And yeah, having that spammy damage that pops the return to sender is obviously really potent. Firecrow also is going to be able to get a lot of bush information. Probably has that vision gadget to make sure anyone revealed will be lit for longer. Pearl also does that. You have to give up heat as Pearl to do that scouting. You don't want to spam shots randomly. There's that Squeak that makes its way in. Like I said, has a absurdly high win rate right now because once you have that mid control, your opponents can't get out of their side of the map. You can really punish these chokes out.
I like the comments on both sides, but I definitely gravitate more towards the SKC one myself. But certainly when you got the Pearl, the magic puffs from the Gene, and the heals of which that brings, in a mode like Knockout does go quite a long way, but I think a lot of this is going to pivot on how Loud fare with this Angelo. It's always a good brawler pick on this map, but you do have to land those shots. I mean, it's very punishing if you don't in the map that it's just so encouraging to be pushed back on.
Yeah, and you also can't really bother shooting the Nani. The projectile speed is slow enough that Nani has time to respond with the return to sender, and you can almost, obviously, one-shot onto Angelo. You've got to respect it. Still, Pekka here. Yeah, see, there's a return to sender. Firecrow says, thanks for that. We'll wait for the cooldown of that gadget if you have another chance to use it. But now, this is what you have to do against the Squeak. You cannot give up the map control, so you need to take it. Loud's composition, though, is pretty bad at fighting their opponents behind these walls. Firecrow is going to try and develop a magic hand to pull someone out. But outside of that, Loud actually have to wait for the gas.
Yeah, I like the aggressiveness of which Kyodog has really started laying into the early outset of this match, but I worry massively here for SKC. They've given up so much control on the back foot, and the gas going to be coming in really, really soon here. Pekka as well, if he wants to utilize the peep, is going to have to be immobile by doing so. Oh, big tap here from Kyodog as well. Nowhere to go now. The splash from Firecrow. Turn to send the pot.
Wait,
gets a kill of it. What? Are you serious?
I mean, you have to have known that gadget was available. Here comes the gas, though, again. So Loud are able to take the round in virtue of just, choking SKC out of the map. But, I mean, we know we're going up against a Nani here. Kyodog was really playing it very close there, choosing to fire at a Nani that knew had gadget.
Well, now the magic hand of Firecrow is going to be really quite a dangerous prospect. And it's top left as well, when everyone is kind of bunched together. He's got a lot of choice. Got to heal up, though. That is the #1 thing that he's got to focus on doing at the moment. Dino as well, pushing up that right-hand side on full HP. I mean, it really looks so comfortable so far for Loud.
Yeah, I mean, I think this gas makes it hard for SKC to get back into the map in a meaningful way. There's just not enough damage being done.
No.
Well, this is how you get back into the map. I don't approve of that. Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, the jump pads are there for a reason, Ark. I don't know why that's so funny.
Pearl has literally got a super which can capitalize in moments just like that. And where does ever jump pads the answer, Like, I mean, come on, guys. Come on.
We're trolling in the Brawlstars Championship. We have to be. Again, if SKC can't get into the map, I kind of get it. It does feel like they've deterministically lost the round if they get out of this center area. But they don't have much choice. Dino is quite oppressive. There's a nice little return to center. I like that. Kyodog, obviously, that super's so important for Angelo because you can't afford to shoot at the Nani if you're not full health. You won't get one shot if you are full health, but also you can't charge up your arrows if you're healing. So Kyodog actually can't do anything if he wants to get their health back and doesn't want to use a super in order for that healing to come.
Well, I felt there that SKC may have chosen to go the aggressive to secure that onto Kyodog. A break as well so far there from Pekka, but
I don't think Dino minds, really.
Yeah, no, it's going to probably be helpful for him, but definitely means that there's that bit of escape maneuvering. And so far, SKC taking some time really to secure these kills, and that's not great. 2v2 now. Pekka does need to find this onto Kyodog. pops the gadget prematurely as well. This could be really quite dangerous. Everyone is low. It's a 1v1 now, which Pekka should win and does. But that shouldn't have been nearly as close as it was.
Yeah, somehow Pekka is not able to body block the shot that comes in from Kyo Dog, so the Gust just ceased to exist. You've got to respect that Angelo damage. Good to see now SKCALALAS valuing being in the map that much more and maintaining this control of the bush. Kyo Dog sees the peak go past and isn't too bothered about it. Firecrow is able to hide behind the barrel and avoid it. Some of the grass at least is removed, but Loud I think are pretty unbothered about that Nani Super.
Yeah, I think the barrel is quite key. Good squeak shots down to Firecrow.
Back control.
Back as well, but if Firecrow can find a connection here, ooh, nice jukes there from Kyo Dog.
No,
Pekka doing a great
job.
job on that left-hand side there and jump back away. Keep coming in. This is getting nasty.
Yeah, this is great, and this is what SKCALALAS want to do. They get that early damage, they turn it into map control. Nice little jukes there from Firecrow to avoid the peep, but this squeak is about to get really annoying. Firecrow doesn't have a reliable way to get into the map, and now it's his gas start here. Kyo Dog didn't have enough space to heal back up. Pekka started to look dominant now in these last couple of seconds. Nice little super there from the Pearl, but SKCALALAS have the numbers, and therefore the damage. We are one game apiece in this set.
Yeah, really great adaptations from SKC because honestly, in the first few rounds, it was just looking like child's play and like Loud were looking so sure of themselves. Those nanny shots really did pack a punch, and Kyo Dog was struggling on that left-hand side to Pekka for the majority of things. And now, straight back in, an early tap there from Kyo Dog, straight down the line. Christian already so low as well. Pekka falls back. This is a perfect start for Loud so far.
Yeah, the first 20 to 30 seconds of these rounds can be a big predictor of who's going to win. And Loud, once again, are able to get that map control, start to lay it on a little thick. As Kyo Dog doesn't take enough damage where he's forced out of the map because Angelo takes longer to recover in many cases than other brawlers. He can't shoot while doing so, which is kind of important. Kyo Dog is going to have to be a little careful here. Magic Puffs are going to help keep him nice and topped up. Man, that was close.
Yeah, RAC is running wind-up as well with the long-range shot, and I'm just kind of surprised because the sticky residue on this map really is quite pivotal. But the way he's playing it, you can't really argue against it. Peep coming out now for Pekka, trying to find maybe Firecrow some break here as well, circling around, potential more damage, still circling around, got to find a target, Kyo Dog jumps away with the Master Fletcher.
Oh, there's the magic hand. Finally, we get to see it. Firecrow is able to take down RHC effortlessly, and Loud able to convert on a great start to that round. One round away from taking his set.
Let's see. Kyo Dog finds early taps again. Too long range. Some big vengeful spirits down to the mid there as well. It's going to give Loud the control. Dino can choose to break, but we'll probably leave it. Yeah, exactly. Seems to be like SKC want to break that themselves, so Loud would be more than happy to leave it there for that reason. But they are still in a very advantageous position.
Yeah, I think RHC wants to wind up to be able to contend with the sharpshooters that they're expecting to see on this map. I think the residue gadget might just be win more when they already have that map control, when they're already punishing those chokes. So obviously, every now and then, we're going to see those super long-range shots coming out of RHC to maybe contend with the range of someone like Kyo Dog. Pekka, those gone down, so that return to send the threat is now off the map. Kyo Dog could start to fire these shots into bushes with impunity.
What's Pekka thinking? I don't understand that logic. You're Firecrow there with Magic Hand, and he's running in a straight line. It makes no sense. I mean, that's not the craziest thing in the world, mate. Come on, it's a hypercharged Sheen. When do you ever see one of those three Magic Hands ever hit? Never happens.
You don't want to, because you don't want to run the risk of pulling more than one player in and getting blown up instantly. There's the set, though. Loud, again, land the plane. Bit of turbulence midway through, but they got off to a great start. They made sure they maintained map control and were genuinely pretty oppressive for SKC to play into.
I'm getting triggered. I'm not going to lie. I'm getting super triggered on the desk. I just don't kind of see why SKC are making some really great moments for themselves to give themselves a chance to breathe, and then just throwing it all away. I mean, there was some very questionable plays in that last round, and it's like all that hard work and then just to kind of just give it on a plate just makes no sense to me.
It was tough. I think, you know, Pekka is so crucial in this composition. I think that return to center is really important to deter this Angelo from just firing willy-nilly. Then obviously, that round was already over, so we kind of understand that running headlong into the Pearl was just a way to try and get things over quickly. But we did see, like, this end state here was really quite nice. Obviously, Adinho eventually goes down. It's a trade, and Pekka hits a nice shot across the map on the diagonal to clean up Kyo Dog. So the talent's there on SKCALALAS. They've got that individual skill, but yeah, having to fight into the middle of the map when the gas comes in, you're at an extreme disadvantage.
Loud with the mid control more often than not. Immediately from the start, they just push in and push their opponents all the way back into spawn. Even though they had the map broken open with the nanny, it did not matter. They did not get back into mid. And as Ark put it, they came close a couple of times already in the previous set, but in the end they just can't close it out, and it's hard to watch, honestly. They're looking so strong in scrims, but somehow they can't put that into the monthly finals.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, honestly. It's like a really odd thing to see. Normally when teams have been putting as much time as they have into their practice, you kind of expect to see some of that come through. On the day, nerves can get the better of people, but this is not a team which really should be getting nervous in that regard. It just feels like it's just being sloppy almost. I just don't understand why they're not being more cautious against a team like Loud.
It's the Gus for me. If you lose map control, Gus doesn't really have the damage. He doesn't have a super that also can guarantee you burst damage or an instant elimination opportunity. You already want to have that map control to abuse the Squeak, but if you don't have it, your Squeak does no damage. Your Gus can't really get good shots. You might try and snipe someone with Kooky Popper or bubble yourself to try and bully into the map with a numbers advantage, but there aren't a lot of levers you can pull to regain that map control once you lose it. And Loud understood the assignment. They just said, we're not going to let the Squeak be oppressive. We're going to keep him in his half of the map.
Gus is really good if you can enable another brawler. So if you have a super available, you usually don't want to shield yourself. You want to shield that BB in your roster or something like that to then push in and give your team some room to breathe. And that was really missing for SKCALALAS this run.
Yeah, I mean, I just felt like the draft still, though, regardless, was decent. It just didn't really have that ability to have an early start. That's what Loud had, using that Angelo gadget into the map immediately.
Get a strong
establishing
start, get that position.
Yeah, the positioning power was really all from Loud from the very beginning through until the end of most of those rounds. So they had that head start, which just we didn't see on the side of SKC.
And if they had an Eve, they could play the diagonal on their side of the map and get across the water, right? But without any water traversing brawlers, you're at a disadvantage.
They were super clever. They banned out Eve themselves, Loud, and then picked up Angelo. So they made that impossible. We're now heading over to Open Business. Could already be our last map in this series if Loud closes it out here. My gut feeling still tells me that this is going to be a close quarterfinals. I want to see some more of these two teams. So let's see if we're going to head into a set 4 of that. Gale, Ziggy, and Chester are going to be banned out on the left-hand side. Leon, Spike and Crow on the right side. We do not get to see Spike or Crow today at all, I feel. They've been either global banned or banned out in the regular stages. First pick now for Loud. Ruff's usually one of the best picks. Super solid, a good first pick. You can't really go wrong with him. Can decide to open up the map. Just throw that hyper to your teammates so they can get hyper themselves. Poco is going to be the first pick instead. A very risky first pick, I feel. They already point into the direction of a tank comp.
Yeah, they're pointing at the BB. They're not slick at all. I'm sorry, but obviously having taken the Poco here, they have to ask themselves, are we going to have to use one of our picks here for an Otis or like a tank counter? Because if you're savvy as SKCALALAS, I think you're going to be saying, if we don't take the BB now, we are not going to get her.
I mean, I quite like that pick for SKC. I mean, I'm surprised it wasn't one of the bans, to be honest. I mean, I think that, for me at least, it's kind of better than the Gale ban. Gale definitely coming forwards, no doubt about it, but I mean, I'm just kind of, interesting.
Pick BB here, right? There's no Gale, and you've got the Otis.
Yeah, it is pick B, yeah, BB. I mean, it doesn't always necessarily work, and there are still options. I mean, Shelly could be just a hard counter as well here. It's you still have to think that way. It's picking the brawlers to what you see rather than kind of what would be normal for the map. Griffin coming to break definitely wasn't one that was on my horizons. Could be paired with a Pierce, but the Pierce being global banned would rule that out. So I don't know, not really sure what their thinking is.
Bro does big deeps.
Two tank counters now.
Care about the walls.
Maybe they just hope BB's not going to be picked up on that left-hand side. Now, we have so many options to break open the map. Griff is not one we see too often. Then if only as a tank counter. Brawlstars Stu would definitely be higher up on my board. But let's see if on the left-hand side BB's still going to come out. It wouldn't be the first time they play a BB into 2 tank counters.
I also think, Stu's a good pick here. Obviously, you want a brawler who can spend much more time than average on the hot zone itself. And with the Poco, especially the Poco Hypercharge, Guild giving a bit of an overshield here, you have staying power. That is a great start. You do not have the raw damage output, though, that SKC has. So you might need to choose a brawler that can interact with them without being in their line of sight, like a thrower, for example, which would be unheard of. Mina is going to round things out. So I do like this. Obviously, she has a gadget that can allow her to neutralize those projectiles for a time, and she has insane snowball potential to boost.
This is going to be such a tough match here for SKC. I mean, you're looking at so much mobility from the Stu, from the Mina, and, you can go with a B here, like, sorry, a B, but like, I mean, that's what you would normally combine with the Griff, but it's going to be awful into what they're looking into and as a comp. And if they were thinking of it, it was just been really outdrafted, and they're going to have to deviate away from this plan, in my opinion. I'm not even sure realistically. It's going to go BB. I mean, yeah, it makes sense.
Finally.
But I mean, I don't know. I feel like, you know, especially with the Stu, I mean, Kaidog on that brawler, literally the best player on it in the world. Mina, going to have very much the same kind of attributes, and the Poco as well. It's going to be hard to run this down. They're going to give themselves the best chance by bringing the BB in. I don't mind it, but it's going to be a bit counterintuitive with the Griff as well. You know, how are they going to be working that out?
They're going to be super mobile on the left-hand side, don't really have the most range, and we do have a Stu and a Griff on the field here. Going to be an interesting one. I really like both comps. Would probably go with SKCALALAS if I had to play this match, so maybe, hopefully, they finally get a set on the board.
Okay, Ficro's already going to come forward early. Fat Splatter, of course, just to do some ticking damage, but Loud take priority. They are the first team on the point, and they'd like to spend as much time here as they possibly could. Pekka with a Vitamin Booster, though, to shrug off some of this poke damage, and Firecrow with a timely shield gadget to try and pressure Christian on the left.
This is exactly what Pekka has for breakfast for me. This is the perfect brawlers to land him on already. 2 baseball swipes, and they clear up on aisle 5. Firecrow, the last man standing on the top left-hand side. Low HP, can't go on the aggressive just yet. And Pekka already running shield gear, by the way, on top of everything. As if BB's tanking this wasn't enough.
We're going to lose the game to a last Cloud, this economy? Dino's forced back here. Gadget from the Poco, though, to yield a bit of extra healing. Kaidog as well wants to spend some time on this point here. Christian's dealt with here as where Loud can now start to find their lead. Good damage coming out, and the Otis wasn't really able to hang. Look at how broken up the map is on this right-hand side, which means that, well, Griff is going to try and do what he can to navigate this catchback used. But yeah, it's the Mina gadget that blocks those spinning bills. And now Loud able to get into that lead. It's 13% and counting arc. Yeah, the
windmill of Mina is just absolutely brutal. Nothing seems to penetrate it. Big hill coming out as well as Pekka just beelining now for the storm. Hypercharge, inbound, big swipes, but again, Loud are in the lead, and look, he's going straight to the spawn, actually going to go down to the Poco, and that's kind of disastrous.
Yeah, I mean, the healing is massive here. It's so necessary with all the poke damage that's going to get taken by this Loud competition, but they're at 90% and counting now. Hypercharge catchback could be cycled through multiple times. RHC doing big damage, but Kaidog still wins his 1 versus 1 and is able to dodge away from much of this damage. There's no way for Pekka to interact with Stu, and he understands that, so instead, he tries to surge ahead and take out the reinforcements. Kaidog eventually falls. Pekka, though, does go down. A hypercharge super here from the Poco should give Loud all the staying power they need to close out this round.
And it felt like they should have secured the kill on Kaidog. He was left on the zone for so long, able to heal up and be present for when his teammates came back in off the spawn. It just gave Loud a bit of an edge. And now at a match point, I just don't really feel like I've seen enough so far from SKC. I mean, you haven't seen anything
from them. Nothing about as little as possible, considering that we're in our 3rd set of Brawlstars here, Ark. Can you show us what you're made of before all is said and done, SKCALALAS? Because exiting here in the quarterfinals would be unthinkable for a roster of this caliber, for a team headed up by Pekka himself. Basically royalty in his region. Nice little beeline there. Pekka takes over towards Dino, and Poco is handled. SKCALALAS will be able to catch up on some of this deficit.
Pekka going aggressive, getting some swipes for the hill there for Dino. It's going to go quite a long way into keeping Kaidog on that top right-hand side. Windmill gadget out yet again from Firecrow, just getting more valuable objectives on the zone. It's been boosted for Pekka. Hypercharge as well, just leaving Firecrow on the low HP straight down the middle.
I mean, Firecrow is stuck in the bush on this left-hand side. This BB is a problem. Kaidog eventually is going to be able to bring her down, but there's still RHC to contest with. And that's a lot of damage here off that super. Kaidog's able to dodge it, but simple geometry, my friend. That spitball's going to be able to take him out. Nadinho has to respect the BB, who once again is in space.
I think it's Pekka's speeding a lot over to the Poco, and you can see now Vidinho popping the hypercharge. Christian on the left-hand side goes down here, and Kaidog pushing his way forwards. Pekka jumps straight up into the air with the helping hand of that Mina, and it's Loud all on the zone. Loud are behind here by a couple of %, but they can absolutely bring this back.
A healthy lead for SKCALALAS now, though. They'll look to try and extend on it, but that's Mina gadget. They're able to block a lot of the damage coming in. Oh, Pekka's caught inside the tornado. Easy free damage onto the BB, you'd think. Firecrow, though, has to expose himself to danger in order to get forward and complete that elimination. And Nadinho cannot stand on the point. So SKCALALAS get one big step closer to taking this round away. With Pekka cycling onto the point, there's not much that Loud can do. BB is busted. You heard it here first.
Yeah, I'm watching that, and I'm always thinking that, do you know what? Maybe there's a way that SKC can still not win this game. That's crazy to me. That should not be in my mind, but I'm waiting for it to go wrong.
Okay, I mean, in fairness, I think we're able to see now just how powerful this BB can be, especially with like good damage output there from the Griff. I think like opening up with a fat splatter to deny some space here away from Loud is good, but yeah, Peck is definitely the problem. I do feel this team rises and falls on him at times, and this is definitely one of those.
Yeah, Pekka really needs to bring this home for his team here. In my opinion, this is the brawler which is the playmaker in that regard. And so far, so good. Targeting as much of his time. He's going super aggressive, but look at this. Loud being a much better start here. Oh, beautiful tap there from Firecrow, sealing the